Sutra 27. Ishvarasya pi abhimana dveshi twad dainya priya tvacha. Because the Lord dislikes pride and loves humility. In the 25th aphorism, Sage Narad establishes the superiority of devotion over the other paths. In the 26th aphorism, he explains that devotion itself is the only path, and one who follows this path sincerely will obtain the goal, which is devotion itself. This is not the case when one endeavors to follow the paths of knowledge, action, and disciplined contemplation. Here, Narad introduces another argument by stating that devotion removes pride from the devotee and bestows humility onto him, which the Lord welcomes. Typically, on the path of knowledge, the follower thinks that he is supreme and that he is the Lord himself. On the path of devotion, there are two individuals, the Lord and his devotee. If the devotee believes he is the Lord himself, then who shall worship whom? A follower of the path of action often feels pride when he performs good deeds and rituals, and he frequently enjoys the egoistical idea of being a pious and good devotee. On the path of disciplined contemplation, the aspirant becomes proud of his austere discipline. He is able to show others how he has mastered his physical body by performing postures to impress them. At a certain point in his practice, the aspirant attains mystic powers, siddhis, and he is able to manipulate the forces of nature to perform great acts of wonder. In time, he starts to feel that he is the source behind the power. An aspirant may divert his attention away from his true goal, which is uniting his soul with the Lord through meditation, and instead use his body and mind to demonstrate his capabilities before others. Therefore, humility in such paths is not completely pure. The Mahabharata is one of the great Hindu epics, and it chronicles a battle between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The Bhagavad Gita is a section of this epic. In the Mahabharata, when the Pandavas, 5 brothers, gambled with the Kauravas, their cousins, they lost all of their assets, including their wife Draupadi. Draupadi was married to all 5 brothers. Dushasan, who was on the side of the Kauravas, grabbed Draupadi and started to disrobe her in full view of her husbands and her respected elders. She prayed to Lord Krishna for help, and he arrived, taking the form of an endless piece of cloth to save her. After this incident, Draupadi asked Krishna, "Why did you come so late to save me?" Krishna replied, "When you called Go from Govind, I left my city Dwarka to save you. And when you said Vind, I reached Hastinapur. But I could not do anything because you held on to your cloth with the pride and attitude that only your hands could save you. The moment you let go of the cloth, I appeared to save you." Govind is another name for Krishna. Dwarka was a dwelling place of Lord Krishna, where he ruled for several years. Hastinapur, the city where this gambling match was taking place, was one of the greatest kingdoms of ancient India, where all the incidents in the epic of Mahabharata took place. Egotism can appear in any form, even within devotees. For example, a devotee may compare himself with other devotees. He may feel that he serves more people, or that he follows a code of conduct more appropriately than others. Therefore, the devotee harbors thoughts that are also a part of pride. Hence, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs in the Sikshastakam verse 3, "We should become humbler than a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree. Free from pride, we should offer respect to others, and we should sing the praises of Krishna unceasingly." A devotee never expects any honor from anyone, yet he honors all living entities at all times, knowing that his beloved Lord dwells in all of them. In the following Srimad Bhagavatam verse 11.2.41, the characteristics of a devotee are described. He bows to the sky, air, fire, water, earth, stars, directions, trees, oceans, and all beings, knowing all that exists is a Lord's own body. When a devotee is overwhelmed with intense love for the Lord, he sees the manifestation of his dearest Lord wherever he turns, and he bows to everyone with humility. Whilst defining humility, Sanatana Goswami states, "Humility is what makes a person feel himself to be lowly, though he may truly be the most advanced. The wise practitioner should act according to the example set by the great ones, who have attained such humility. In thought, word, and deed, they should never act otherwise." Brihad Bhagavatamrit. When a devotee is truly humble, he is also mindful, which makes him feel accountable even if the slightest feeling of personal authority emerges from him. Sanatana Goswami speaks highly of humility and states that there is little difference between humility and devotion. Each is a driving force for the other. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, a great humble devotee named Haridas Thakur tolerated the beatings of Muslims in 22 marketplaces. When the Muslims tried to beat him to death, Haridas Thakur prayed to the Lord for the welfare of those who had committed these crimes against him. "O Krishna, have mercy on them. Be not offended to see them torturing me like this." The essence of humility in devotion is very eloquently captured by the following story. In Raj, there was an educated person from Bengal who had a desire to live in Vrindavan and take initiation from a genuine spiritual master. Initiation is a procedure where one officially takes shelter of a spiritual master and becomes his disciple, to learn how one can serve and please the Lord. He was inclined towards one particular spiritual master and approached him many times for initiation. But after speaking with the aspirant, the spiritual master always refused and felt that this person was inwardly proud of the knowledge he possessed. One day, the aspirant came and requested initiation from the spiritual master. The spiritual master asked him to bring a person or an object inferior to him within 7 days, and if the aspirant succeeded, he would be initiated. At first, the aspirant thought, "There are so many people and objects who are inferior to me. In a matter of moments I will find someone I can bring back with me and present to my spiritual master." He started to search for faults in people, but he could not find any worse than his own. Then he tried to find fault with the animals and birds, but again he was unsuccessful because animals and birds possess many qualities similar to and better than those of humans. He tried to find inferiority in the vines and the trees, but again he failed because trees are very tolerant. Even if a tree dries up and dies, she will not ask for water from anyone. Rather, she will serve everyone with her fruits, wood, leaves, and resin. The tree patiently tolerates the scorching sun rays in the summer, the pouring rain in the monsoon season, and the freezing winters. There can be nothing or no one more tolerant than a tree. The aspirant incessantly searched for 6 days, yet he did not find anyone inferior to him. On the 7th day, he went into the field to defecate, and in the middle of the act he thought, "This stool is inferior to me in all respects. I will let my spiritual master know." But he paused and reconsidered his original thought. How can this be true? Before this substance came in contact with me, it was an offering to the Lord. In a bid to stay alive, I wanted to feed my body, and only after this it became such a disgusting substance. Can there be anyone lower than a person who feeds himself blessed food and turns it into waste matter? The aspirant decided that this stool was even better than him. Then he saw a worm crawling into the stool. He was overjoyed, thinking he had finally found someone beneath him. But soon after, he realized, I have turned the Lord's food into stool, and I cannot make it pure anymore. But this worm will surely merge this stool with the earth. This worm is not lower than me. After bathing, the aspirant went to his spiritual master and said, After 7 days of searching, I conclude that there is no creature or substance lower than me in this world. The spiritual master smiled and said, You have brought yourself here after surrendering your pride and accepting a humble attitude. Now you are ready for initiation. By the mercy of the spiritual master, the aspirant became a humble devotee of Krishna. Sometimes people show humility to project that they are better than others. To become a sincere devotee, one should never show authority over any other living being at any time. One should always remain as serene as a blade of grass, which gracefully bows under all forms of pressure. Bracing raging storms, the blade still returns to its natural form. One should strive to become more patient than a tree, which tolerates the harshest conditions, yet stands tall and shelters all. Until the aspirant develops this humility in the mind and in the performance of every action, pride will reside in his heart. Therefore, Sage Narad states that to be a beloved of the Lord, one must be humble and free of pride, and this is cultivated through the practice of devotion.